Hi, and welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I'm Martin Bailey, and joining us today is Daryl Doblados, founder and CEO of How To Video Solutions. Hi, Daryl. How are you?
Hey Martin, all good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And welcome, and thank you for taking time out to join me today. It's brilliant of you to do so.
Fabulous. Yeah, anytime, anytime.
Cool. Look, to start all of this off, it's important. Let's find out who you are and what you do. So tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure, of course. So my name is Daryl Doblados, and I'm the founder and CEO of How to Video Solutions. And what the company does is really trying to reinvent and promote digital transformation within the pharmaceutical area. And the reason why I call it digital transformation is we basically transform instructions and documents and turn them into bite-sized videos, which is something that's not quite prevalent yet in the space. Right. So the majority of the pharmaceutical companies are still very old school in the way they operate. And I can testify to this because I've been in the industry for 12 years now, and I haven't seen any drastic improvements and changes in the way of operations, right? So all the doctors and nurses still essentially reads on long text-based instructions. And so there's a lot of challenges in that. There's a lot of miscommunications and misunderstandings that can come about with just looking at text-based instructions. And so they've gathered data from various amounts of surveys from doctors and nurses and understood that what they're looking for is really an innovative solution, right, to address the issue of deciphering complex instructions and make it easier and make it modern. And so, yeah, that's really the premise of the business is we transform documents into bite-size study-specific videos for clinical trials. Yeah,
Okay, great. And so, I mean, interesting because that then comes back from your background because your background is in healthcare, isn't it?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so actually, yeah, I've been in the industry now for 12 years, and prior to that, I studied nursing, right? So I was yeah, a general nurse, but then I quickly moved away from the NHS and went private, and that's when I kind of fell in love with research in a way. And it kind of it's essentially part of my exploration and and my foundation of as a seeker, right? So I like to, I'm open to learning new things, very open to understanding new ways of doing things, and yeah, research really had a close connection with research since I was well, yeah, relatively quite young, especially after finishing nursing. So yeah, that's why I went straight into research, and here I am today.
Yeah, okay, great. I mean, it's
Yeah,
interesting. Your business has been up and running for just about a year now, isn't it? You sort of
yeah, it's relatively new. Yeah, so just 1 year
relatively
so far. Yeah, been trading for
yeah.
about.
So what was your what was your biggest motivation? Why did you take the leap from nursing into being into business?
It's really a matter of I saw an opportunity and I saw a gap in the market, but at the same time I wanted to work for myself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So and that's the thing that I've learned, and this is probably something that can, benefit the other listeners as well, is once you find a specific niche and a problem that you can fix, then there shouldn't be anything stopping you from pursuing it. And I can testify to that, with a lot of startups, there's challenges with in terms of financials or maybe planning things. But I think if you're really committed and passionate about something and there's a problem to fix that that a solution that you may be able to offer can make a big difference, then go for it. And that's essentially what I did. And then time is of the essence, and most like the way the world's operating right now, you really have to just step up and get on it.
Yeah. No, but you're right. I mean, at the end of
No,
the day, people only will only invest in things or buy things if it's going to solve a
a
issue,
problem.
a problem,
Yeah,
or a challenge for them essentially.
that's right. That's
So
right.
so you're right. If you know what that problem is you're fixing, it's very easy to communicate with them, isn't it?
That's right. That's right. And I think
Yeah.
that's the next point is about creating that narrative. And
Okay.
one of the resistance in the pharmaceutical industry, or the one of the main barriers, is resistance to change. Right? There's a lot of these. Oh, I'm not going to be quite disrespectful, but like,
That's not just the pharmaceutical industry. That's worldwide. There's a
that's
resistance.
worldwide, yeah. But it's very prevalent and common in this the pharma space. But yeah, absolutely right, Martin. It happens everywhere. but especially all the, I call it the old geezers, in the
What you
pharma.
saying now, Daryl?
No, you're quite young as well, Martin. It's all right. But yeah, so the the foundation and the history of pharma is very prevalent on sticking to something that they already know, right?
Yeah,
But gradually, digital transformation is slowly being adapted in the space. And now I'm really looking to disrupt that market because at the moment there is no business like what we're doing.
yeah.
Now, granted, there may be some bigger companies that might be doing this in-house. You know, they may have a video editing team or something that might be doing something similar, but only for their specific small projects, but nothing global yet, right? Because let me tell you the stats. There's currently 400,000 active clinical trials out there globally, and about 98% of them are using just text-based instructions. You know, they're looking at a lab manual or an instructional manual to kind of get assessments. But considering that, you know, platforms like YouTube or social media platforms, video is such a big thing nowadays, you know, especially the bite-sized ones, the really quick ones, like 10-second or 20-second ones. And then it's really capitalizing on that momentum of video transformation, but then adapting that into the space.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. I mean, if you look
Yeah,
at this day and age, a lot of training, it's training videos that people are saying
yeah,
it's not narrative, and it's not text. And interesting, if you look at the types of learning styles out there, visual, kinesthetic, audio, most people are, not that's a generalization, but a lot of people sit in the visual and the kinesthetic space
mm,
and not such an auditory space. So, but
right.
if you can visualize it with auditory, then they take it on board, which
Absolutely.
works in video. So what obviously you've been going a year. What were the initial challenges that you faced in setting the business up, and what do you do to overcome them, really?
That's a good question. So, actually, what we're trying to do, what we've been doing at the moment is whilst we are progressing to really tap into the market, we have been working with kind of other companies that's not quite in the clinical trial space, but we are
Mhm.
offering kind of video related services to them. So, in the initial first year, whilst we're really actively promoting the business to our main target audience, we are working with other medical professionals like doctors and consultants,
Right,
mainly helping with their YouTube content creation in the channels, and also for anything healthcare related. Then we're helping some companies with with social media optimizations, but really the end goal is to tap into that clinical trial space. Yeah, so
right.
that's really the main challenge is to it's going to take time to really get on board in that space. But you have to start from somewhere.
No, no, I get that. But
Yeah.
so getting into that space, what are the challenges you're facing getting into that space then? What are the blockages?
Yeah, I think at the moment, realistically, one of the main challenges is just the marketing aspect. So we haven't been actively marketing in a way that will disrupt the space yet. And that's why currently I'm working with a YouTube agency to really help with tackling the disruptive marketing tactics and implementing that. So I've only started that a few weeks ago with this agency. So I'm looking to really focus on targeting the market hopefully by next month. So we're creating a bag full of different videos and content ready for the campaign of disrupting the market.
Okay, so to disrupt that market, what would you need to do?
It needs, I would say, the main thing is be unique in the way that you present your content, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of video content out there, but what I've seen, and this is based on data and statistics now, if you type in clinical trials in YouTube, for example, you don't see a lot of engaging content there,
Okay.
right? So so it's really about thinking outside the box and being different from what is currently being seen in YouTube, for example.
Yeah.
So it's kind of finding tactics to be different, be unique, and also maybe target your target audience indirectly. So finding it's a psychological game. It's a psychological game.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of really finding a right tactic and be different. That's the thing, be different.
But for, call me a sort of, taking a simple view on this possibly. But if you know what the problem is
Yeah.
solved and you know how you can solve it, are you? I mean, your disruptive tactics, are they around expressing that to the marketplace, or is it just disruptive in terms of showing them ways that you can do the content that would be unique for them?
That's a good question. And you have to be strategic. You have to be very strategic because, yes, whilst there is a solution that we're offering that can really help doctors and nurses run a successful trial, you don't want to be actively selling and selling and selling when it comes to social media, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
you have to be tactical in terms of, okay, especially when it comes to promotion, because you can just keep on selling and selling, but then it doesn't have the same impact as maybe more of an emotional connection to or creating an emotional connection with the content that you're creating.
Right. Yes.
So yeah, I'm working with this agency right now where we will be creating at least one VSL. So a VSL stands for video sales lead. So yeah, so I'm thinking of they will be creating a YouTube channel dedicated for this business, but there will be one VSL, right? And that will be really specific on the services that we have, but then the rest of the content will be completely different. It's going to be a bit more broad, a bit more lighthearted, and it will kind of approach different topics, but then it still leads back to the overall foundation that, okay, this is the service that we're actually offering, and this is how we can help you. So
Okay.
that's one tactic that we're doing, and
Yeah.
it's still in the implementation phase. But hopefully next month we'll be ready to go.
Okay. Okay. So look, if you, I mean, it's only been a year, so I'm not asking you to reflect too far back.
Yeah,
But if you were looking back, what's the one thing that you wish you had known before you started the business?
I think one thing, yeah, I would say that one thing that I would tell my past self would be, that's a good question actually, because I think for me, every day is a learning curve, and
Mm.
every day you're learning, you're growing, you're developing. And I think that's one thing that you can just, yeah, I would tell my old self is be open. Just be open to criticism, be open to feedback, be open to any negatives or positives. Just take everything on board and make an assessment as you progress through your business.
Okay. So yeah, yeah. Don't take things personally, is what you're essentially saying.
Yeah, that's probably one thing. Yeah, don't take it too
Yes. So
personally.
being open enough to accept
Yeah,
that you're not going to get everything right, and
exactly.
actually there may be better ways of doing things, and by listening and opening your brain, you can take this information and improve what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, essentially.
Okay. So is that the advice that you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who face similar challenges? Or is there any other, would you advise them in a different way? Or would you say just be open?
I think that's probably one of my main advice. And as I mentioned, if again the advice in finding a specific problem and
Yeah,
solving it,
the
and
niche, yeah.
then just going for it. Yeah,
Okay.
because otherwise there'll be other people that are thinking like you, and then they're gonna end up doing it, and then you're gonna miss out.
Yeah, so they won't just be thinking about it. They'll go on and do it while you're thinking about it,
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
exactly. You got to be one step ahead of the game. And
Yeah.
so far, I think I'm the only one so far because I haven't seen anyone because I've been actively
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
at competitors, but I haven't seen anyone yet. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, you're right. If you believe enough in the product or service that you've got, and you believe there's a big enough problem and you know space or desire for it,
yeah,
then you're absolutely right. Why wait? Get on and go for it.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
What we got to lose? You might find out you're not right, but at the end of the day, you learn from that, don't you?
Absolutely. And tell you what, if it doesn't work well, if it fails, then that's a learning curve, right? And then you could try again. You could try again. And that should, if you fail, that should not ever discourage you. That should not discourage anyone, you know.
There's no, yeah, you're right.
No
You're
such
right.
thing.
There's no such thing as failure. It's only
No.
learning.
It's only learning. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
look, I mean, you're starting your business up. Yeah, I'm assuming you're pretty much, just yourself at the moment. You got a couple of people working with you, or
Yeah, it's mainly myself. So we have a couple of editors that will be part-time editors.
yeah,
But it's
okay,
mainly myself really driving the business. And actually one thing I recently formed a joint venture partnership with another business.
yeah,
And he's actually, yeah, so I'll actively plug him as well. But he's looking into decentralized trials. So his business is in decentralized trials, and together we're really focusing on not just the disruptive tactics, marketing tactics, but also having this joint operations in terms of the decentralized trial spot, Martin, is basically instead of patients or volunteers going into the hospitals or clinics, the doctors and nurses will actually go to the patients' homes instead and do the
Uh-huh.
clinical trials there.
Got you. Right. Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and it's something that's very prevalent, that's been common, starting to become more common in the States, but it's not active everywhere yet. So in the UK, there's very, very limited decentralized trials. So and it's a good thing. It's a good fit because if you have doctors and nurses that are going to be essentially going to people's home, they don't want to be carrying around like a bag full of equipment and everything, and then
Oh,
a whole load
yeah.
of instructions. But actually, if they can have already a phone with them or a tablet, quickly look at the instructions that needs to be collected,
Yeah.
quickly watch it, and then they've got everything.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So it
So,
helps.
kind of, the sort of last question, I suppose, for me for today is, what's a good job look like in 3, 5 years' time? Where do you see the business for you in 3 to 5 years' time?
I think in 3 to 5 years' time, providing that we continue with this trajectory of of the growth of the business, then I would say that we should be able to be within the European space first,
Okay.
really be active in Europe, because the technology that we're using is actually incorporating AI as well. So when it comes to all the voiceovers, that's all AI based, and I think that's why our services will be much more cost efficient and quicker than traditional, animation or traditional video services, because we utilize a lot of AI into our day-to-day work.
Okay. Yeah. No, fantastic. So basically, you want to have conquered the European space within 5 years for
Yeah,
for, for your
exactly,
for your product. Yeah. Okay.
exactly.
Great. I mean,
Yep,
great goal to have. A great goal to have.
yep,
Daryl, look, I've got to say, been fantastic talking to you. Really interesting space you're operating in, and I
yeah.
wish you all the best in terms of breaking down the resistance to change and barriers you're going to have to get through to get your product under the
That's
under
right.
the noses of the right people. Um, and yeah, there's some fantastic content in there for our listeners. So once again, thank you very much for taking the time out and coming to join me today.
Anytime. Thank you, Martin.
Yep, you're most welcome. I'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.